Okay, here we're going to be determining the sample size that we need to use for an experiment. Now this is a very important step in an experiment to make sure that you are having the correct sample size. If it's too small, it lowers the rigor of your study, and we can't have much confidence in our results. However, if you're making it too large, you can be making it very difficult for yourself to collect the actual amount of data. So we need to make sure that we're getting an assessment of what is the correct sample size to proceed with. So here's what we need to have for that. We need to have a simple random sample. We're going to need to know the standard deviation for the population in this particular instance. We're going to need to know our margin of error. And we're also going to need to know our Z critical value, which we'll calculate out from our confidence interval. So let's take a look at an example problem of this. And before we do that, then here is the formula we're going to be using. So this is the formula. These are the pieces we need to acquire for solving this problem. So here we're going to use practice problem number 26 on page 353. So we're calculating mean grade point averages. We want to know how many students do we need to include in our study to have a sample mean that is within 0.2 of the population mean. So we're being told here already that we're using a simple random sample, so we're good for that. Now let's go through and look at identifying the rest of the pieces from the study. So if you read through in that paragraph, you're going to see that we have a standard deviation for the population of 0.79. Here you can see that we're being asked to find a sample mean that's within 0.2 of the population mean. That gives us our error. So that is the error that we're given from the problem, 0.2. Okay? And we're told that we want to find this with a 99% confidence interval. So we're going to use this information then to calculate out our critical value Z. So we're going to go through, and if we're finding our critical value Z, remember we're going to use 1 minus 0.99 here because we have a confidence interval of 99. It gives us 0.01. And again, because we're using a Z distribution table and we're going to have to flip this critical value to get a plus and a minus value, we're going to take that alpha of 0.01 and we're going to divide it by 2 and get 0.005. So we're going to go locate 0.005 in the body of our table. And we're going to find that it corresponds with a negative 2.575. So we're going to use the absolute value of that. Okay, so now I've got my critical value Z, and we're going to plug this into our formula to get our sample size. So here we plug this into our formula. You can see there is our Z critical value. We're multiplying that by our population standard deviation, and we're going to divide that by our margin of error that we've been given in the problem. And when we're done with that, we're going to square it. So take a pause here, plug in these video numbers into your calculations and run them. And when you've completed that, turn the video back on and proceed to the next slide where we'll check it together. All right, so you should have got 103.45 as your N. Now we need to apply our rounding rule here, and our rounding rule says that if it's not a whole number, then we round it up to the larger whole number. So rounding this up, we're going to get 104. So the N that we would need, the sample that we would need of students for our study here, given our particular population standard deviation, the confidence interval we're being asked to meet, and the margin of error we're being asked to meet would be 104 students.